Exclusively for Hampton Roads, Cox Communications presents Cox Business Television.
Welcome back to CBTV. I'm Mike Bram. If you've been in a car anytime in the last 10 years here in Hampton Roads, then it's not news that we have challenges. So what do we do about it? With us are Dwight Farmer from the Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization and Phil Shucet, a former Virginia Transportation Commissioner. Gentlemen, as we were talking about things in the first segment, really as we're going into here, there's some alternatives that we probably need to look at to deal with this gap that maybe while we're building roads, we could look at other programs. Are there any incentive programs or things that you all have already created that we could bring some light to today, or do we need to create something new?
Well, first of all, Mike, we do have a program in place. I think it has a huge potential. I think it's sorely underutilized. It's called Traffics, one word, Traffics, and it's about having our transit operator, HRT, come to you, the business community, and talk to you about working with you on incentivizing your employees to carpool, talk to you about changing your start times, your quit times, when your employees arrive, how they work, whether they work on-site or off-site. All of those programs carry financial incentives with the IRS, with HRT itself, and they can have huge impacts on our daily lives and on congestion in general in the region.
So we're talking about the government would actually provide a stipend or a set dollar figure?
Dollar amounts, depending on the size of your company, the programs you engage in, lots of incentives. But I think the most important incentive is to make life a little easier for both the business community and for their employees.
Right. Well, I think as we're looking at things like telecommuting and those type of things, one of the challenges that we might be able to work through or to understand how that changing of the timing of the day really could impact, because you've already changed some things around from like when the military comes to work. Mm-hmm. You're saying that if we were to change things just for where we stop and start our day as business leaders, that could have a big impact.
Makes a huge difference. Right. Think about it, 24 hours in a day, and we all try to cram in 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon, roughly, arriving at work and departing from work. Now, the military already has a huge program. At 5:30 a.m., 64 Naval Base is full, and it stays full until about 7 a.m. So the military community really does a great job. They're a leader in that area because they know they have to spread out. They can't process them through the gate. What we need are major employers like Cox or smaller mom and pop shops that really need to understand there are certain times. For instance, 8 o'clock in the morning, you really don't want to be on the Berkeley Bridge if you don't have to be there. 8:30 would be good. We don't need for you to come in at 10 or 11, but 8:30, 8:45, 7:45 makes all the difference in the world.
Dwight makes a good point for business leaders. Some cross-communication between the military and local CEOs may pay some big dividends.
Well, as a former commissioner, one of the challenges I think we're looking at is unless we change, we're going to be Nova. We're going to be Northern Virginia. Are there some lessons learned from the Nova experience, during the 90s and 2000s that we could adapt here that maybe we're not employing today?
Well, one very important lesson Nova learned was that it's fine to have plans, but you have to implement them. Nova had a terrific plan in the mid-1960s to avoid the very situation they're in today, but they never could generate the political will or the money to put it in place. So we have to act swiftly based on the plans that Dwight and the TPO are developing for us.
Well, one of the key things that you brought up during the session was essentially time equals money.
Absolutely.
Can you unpack that a little bit to help us understand that if we delay like just the one bridge crossing or one bridge building or tunnel, that has a huge impact. Can you tell us about that?
Well, the Midtown Tunnel is a very active project going on in our region right now, or about to go on. A 3-year delay in building the Midtown Tunnel will increase the cost of that project to an amount that's equivalent to building a new I-64 high-rise bridge for free. So time is one of the biggest enemies we face in the construction industry.
What can we do as a business community to maybe help us to understand better what is those initiatives that need to happen to bring that to close?
Get behind projects that can be funded and can be implemented, and stay behind them relentlessly until they're done.
So essentially, we need Big Mo. We need some momentum.
That's right.
To come in to get us going.
Right.
And from the projects that we have right now, and from any other like mass transit or any other alternatives that we haven't really explored? Are there a few other things that can happen? Because that's still a couple-year project, correct?
Absolutely.
There are a lot of things, Mike, we can do in the interim. I think personally, real-time information is a powerful tool. People can make smart decisions about whether even to come out of the office, come out of the home in the morning, if they understand what the real-time situation looks like. Okay. The other is, and I mentioned this off camera some minutes ago, we talked about the Exxon Valdez and the oil spill some years ago. Some people don't even remember that. There was a fine for what happened, but I think to the government's credit, they took that money and plowed it back into retiming of traffic signals throughout the entire United States. I remember vividly that experience in Hampton Roads when those retimings were put in place, updated, because the traffic engineers don't have unlimited resources. The impact was huge on the daily lives of commuters. The signals worked much better. I think we've lapsed back into that same period where the traffic engineers don't have the resources, and these are small dollars. These are not the billion-dollar infrastructure improvements that Philip is talking about. These are the small dollar investments that can have huge immediate dividends right away.
I think it's important to note that Virginia Beach is preparing just to do what Dwight talked about, retime traffic signals over the next 2 to 3 years. It's a very important step. I applaud them for taking that.
Well, that's good. That's nice to hear that the community's taking that kind of initiative and leadership. I mean, it sounds like this is going to be, yet again, a leadership issue that maybe collectively, whether it's through the government and through commercial entities, but really the individual citizens, that we could pull this together. One of the really the statistics to which you guys shared with us was that I think it's back in the 1990s to 2000s, there was like 1.9 people per car, but you said we love our car so much that we're down to just really one person per car all the time. So just some minor changes really may have a huge impact, it seems like, right?
Yeah, we went from carpooling in 1 in every 4 vehicles to 1 in every 10. And the numbers going down, and that has a huge impact on how much congestion is there.
Well, those are some great stats, and maybe there's some other things which we can bring in even a follow-on session, but I thank you all very much for your leadership. Thank you for your involvement with our community, and hopefully collectively we'll be able to make a big impact going forward. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
There's still more to come on CBTV, including a profile of a local business leader and a report from our friends at Inside Business. Stay with us. You're watching Cox Business TV.